license or that. They don't have municipal 7 or 8.
And so far it's been a bust.
Well, they bought him $100,000 vehicle. And they're going to put the limits in, but they don't get put.
Just a reminder to everybody, you can sign in if you haven't already out there.
Meeting stuff, I've got a
Thank you.
couple done for the next ball game.
Scott, you're gonna need them.
I don't think you'll need it up the next ball game.
Yeah. Did you see that
Hopefully
video?
it's the last one. Cheaters.
Oh, Bears?
Cheaters.
Green Bay. I think he's gonna be done next week.
I'm so old now, Rick, that if I would have sat down, I would have fell asleep.
I was watching.
Why, did you have a birthday on the Travis?
I just during the game.
He's gonna throw something, kick something?
No, it's very frustrating.
Even your kid was pacing.
Yeah.
Come on, Dan.
Calm down. Dog was just sitting looking at me like, what's going on?
I don't have the downtown in my phone.
Kevin, I tried to get Brandon to put on his favors the other night. He wouldn't do it.
You got parked it when I see
He knows better. I changed my mind. You guys don't cheat. The whole thing's just ridiculous.
Oh, the whole thing.
But it's Las Vegas.
I would.
You buy that?
Yeah, I'd buy it. But 65% of money was on the Bears, so we should have won those guys to win.
Close to right between 50 and 100 people. The problem was it was so cold outside. I know I was out the door, so I could feel us quite a bit. We still have that's kind of
That was a big thing I saw on the
we had a
news.
lot of,
I don't know why they wouldn't hire him.
and a lot of people that are down.
I'm assuming
Yeah,
he said
thank you for all your help.
I'm assuming he said no.
We call meeting to order. Nate?
Yeah.
Here. Right?
Here. Here.
Here. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
A motion to have a second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Public input, this is time and place for discussion items not already on the agenda with a time limit of 3 minutes each. Budget presentation, economic development.
What do you need? I'll kick things off. Oh, they all have one actually. Oh, they do. Yeah, if anybody wants in the audience wants one, but yeah, what you sent me, I printed for all of them.
There were pictures in this. Okay, thank you, Mayor and City Council for having us tonight. My name is Jessie Thurn, for those of you who don't know me. This is my second year in the role as Executive Director for the Mount Vernon-Lisbon Community Development Group. So although I'm no longer new, I'm still new-ish and learning, and I appreciate your support and patience. I would like to cover the accomplishments from the last year, 2025, as well as some of our goals for 26 that will directly relate to our fiscal year 27 budget. I don't think you guys have the wordy page on here. I kind of wanted to highlight some of the successes we had last year. Part of the relationship with Mount Vernon and Lisbon, I did try to be much more present in Lisbon and physically to be able to meet people, see people, and know that I'm around. So we did host we were part of 3 ribbon cuttings, 4 of them, if you include Midwest Maine Co. But Fairway obviously organized their own, but they did reach out to the CDG for help and collaboration. Starlight Yoga, we were able to do a ribbon cutting for them, as well as the Lisbon Library when they revamped their bookcase, because they did want to give a little bit of public recognition to those people who donated for that. We also hosted Engage and Grow here at Tin Roof, which brought about 25 people in April, and there was a snowstorm, so we were pretty proud of that, and that was a way to outreach to the businesses and give education. We've invested, as you guys know, into the digital marketing specialist position, which we referred to as social media before, but that digital marketing position is something that has been truly beneficial for our organization and our community. It's really capturing tourism, but it's also a great way to get information out to community members, and we've heard a lot of positive feedback from individuals just saying it feels like everybody's a bit more engaged and connected. So we are investing back into the digital marketing specialist again for 26. So that's a contract that we renewed with a 5% increase. The growth that she was expected to achieve, her name's Christina Milliken, was 10%. She reached 43% on Instagram and 27% on Facebook, and she's also started a LinkedIn page and is looking at other opportunities for us to be able to reach beyond our corridor and attract either people to come visit us or to come stay here and live with us. Another piece that was very near and dear to me last year was the collaboration with the Sauerkraut Days Committee and Heritage Days Committee. Sauerkraut Days Committee let us borrow their stage, borrow a ton of equipment, but then we also partnered with them and they worked our beer tent from 8 p.m. till midnight, which is the busiest times, and then we worked their food tent during the Sauerkraut Days. So that was a really great collaboration because nobody understands how hard it is to volunteer and find volunteers than the volunteers themselves. So that was a really good partnership. And at the Sauerkraut Days Festival, we did present the city with the Sesquicentennial Project of the Year. So each year the CDG does volunteer or appreciation recognition, and the Sesquicentennial, which I'm very bad at saying, we were part of that meeting early on, and I thought it was great to see the community come together and kind of add that on to Sauerkraut Days. So in conjunction with those two things, we did increase our giving. We added our sponsorship for the Sesquicentennial, and then along with our sponsorship for the Sauerkraut Days in general. And then last year we also increased our fundraising goal. Obviously we need to diversify our funding, so part of that is on us to do. We are close to hitting our $50,000 mark, which is about double of what we have been doing. Really that just involved getting investors out there. So me, myself, and some of my board members would go visit with investors, have conversations, ask for 3-year pledges, and tell them what we're working towards. That has been very beneficial, and we know that now we have to put our money where the mouth is, but we are very excited for the future of the CDG. And that will bring me to our goals for 2026. Again, the digital marketing specialist has already been approved and the contract has been reaffirmed. Christina will be challenged to raise $1,000 online, so we're also looking at fundraising on there to help with the CDG's overall fundraising goals. And we will be attending, hopefully most of us will be attending an Iowa Tourism Conference. Iowa Economic Development Authority is a huge partner with Main Street Iowa, and they also do Travel Iowa. So that going to the tourism conferences just to learn how we can get people to come here to Mount Vernon-Lisbon, what we should highlight. And a big part of that will be changing our branding and updating our logo and doing a comprehensive marketing plan. Right now, we are kind of reactive, and so the committee has worked really hard and the board has worked really hard to focus on strategic planning for the future so that we can continue to grow. And part of that is making sure that we have a marketing plan and a branding that aligns with our community. Right now, the Mount Vernon-Lisbon, the logo here is not necessarily reflective of the fund we have. And my Mount Vernon-Lisbon logos that were created a few years ago is something we're trying to kind of bounce off of to be a little more energetic and focus not just on the fact that we have events, but that we can help with communication, economic development, and all of those things throughout the community. And then next year we will also work for an increased goal for our 2026. We'll keep moving to find ways that we can raise money for our organization to continue with the objectives we have. The 2 budget requests that I listed, the first one highlights, shared expenses that Mount Vernon-Lisbon. So we did invest in Everyday Iowa segments, as well as the Travel Iowa ad that we won during a social media challenge, but we upgraded to the next size and basically matched that. So it was like a $2,500 value, but we got it for $1,300. And those are the types of things we're looking at, is ways to get Mount Vernon-Lisbon out there. Along with that, we invested in the CRM database. I'm not sure if anybody has for sure the business listings of all of our businesses, but I don't think we do, and that's something that's very important to me. And then being able to communicate clearly with volunteers, donors, what have you. So the CRM database is something that will be coming in this year Very excited for that. I know Brandon had already reached out to me once, like, do you have the business lists about Vernon? Because it's something that people need, and so it's something that we should be able to own and audit and help get messages out clearer. And then with our Lisbon support, like I had said, we will continue to do our scholarship. We did the sesquicentennial increase this year. And then Sauerkraut Days, Halloween Town, Christmas Parade. And then the BE grant is definitely something that we want to put into one of our committees to reassess and kind of revamp so that we can make sure that we're getting the participation we want there. It's been a very big year of growth, so it's definitely on the list. And there are some opportunities that we haven't discussed yet with Brandon fully, one being a franchise fee and one being the T-Mobile Hometown Grant, which is something that I saw that I knew would be applicable to the sports complex fundraising piece. And so in Budget A request, we were just looking for an increase of $2,000 to help support us with our continuation of the social media position, the CRM database, and our marketing efforts. Request B would obviously take a little more digesting. That one is if the City of Lisbon is interested in us looking into Lisbon becoming a Main Street community. We have already started those conversations with Main Street, Iowa to see what is possible. We had a preliminary conversation with Brandon to see if there was any interest. And on that last page is where you see the details of how this could benefit this community. I won't read through them all, but I will say Lisbon already has a historic downtown. Lisbon has a history center. Lisbon has shown public and private investment in your Main Street, which is what Main Street is looking for. And they want Main Streets to succeed, and they want them to all be full. They don't want vacancies. Becoming a Main Street also gives you an on-site staff for 20 hours a week, where right now I'm in Mount Vernon pretty much all the time, and or hire somebody part-time to do that position. The bottom right shows the grants that Mount Vernon has won through the Main Street program. So those are the Challenge Grant and the Open for Business Grant, and those are restricted to the 12-block radius of Mount Vernon that is Main Street, and over $360,000, and that does not include the match from those businesses or owners. So, you could probably consider about $1 million going into it downtown. So our next steps would be for, obviously, you to discuss if you'd be interested in at all. Look for us to continue to dig into Lisbon becoming a Main Street. I will say the experience I had with Main Street, Iowa, all of the grants, all the opportunity, this community would be a shoo-in, I would think, because there's so much progress made in that they would be able to help with, they can help with building assessments. There's more grants out there than just the ones that the IEDA provides for us. And they give us a ton of webinars and collaboration with small businesses and individuals. So that's kind of what's been happening in Mount Vernon for so long, and we would like to see if you guys would be interested in bringing that here. That number, 20,000, is arbitrary. It was, we don't know exactly how much it will cost to get us to be able to create a Main Street yet, but we know that there would be a lot of legwork that the CDG is willing to put in for that contribution.
So the grant writing and stuff, who would do that?
Huh? The grant writing would go through us.
You?
Yeah. Yeah, so basically the businesses that would be interested, they would obviously need to, either the business owner or the building owner would be a part of that conversation, and they would definitely have to be fully on board. But yep, we would submit it and it would go through our system, and then the funding would go through us too, and we would cut those checks and all the administrative work on the back end.
And how many people would that take to get into? Because I'm new to this.
Yeah.
And I just found out last time that grant writers are free. I mean, they try for grants, but they get 15% of the grant is what I was
Yeah,
kind of
we don't
told.
take anything. We don't take anything. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
how many,
That's just a deal they make. It's not typical of this kind of situation. It's
Maybe like if you hired a professional grant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the pros are.
Okay.
And I'd say, since we are a volunteer-led organization, it opens up opportunity for us to find people who are grant writers. There are plenty of people out there who have talents and that they want to share, and maybe they're retired and they just need a little job to do. But there's definitely openness and willingness to help the organization, and so if we could help us, then we would love to. And if it's not the time, we understand. It's just the board's very excited and wanted us to present that for discussion. That's all I have.
So we can't.
We won't pick anything.
I think we need to We won't pick any, we're just going over the budget, we ain't set a budget.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else, any questions? All right, thank you. Fire.
You should have the sheets in front of you.
You guys don't have to sit here for all.
We might sneak out.
I'd like to sneak out with.
I'll open the door.
Okay, go ahead.
So, what I did with, obviously, the ambulance service, voting for the EMS districts, and they're gonna be getting, assuming that passes, some of the tax money. I've talked to Jake Lindauer, and so when this goes through, essentially, they're gonna become our medical officer, which if all this goes through, will be in July. So I've removed that from the allocation. I've removed the medical call pay from that. And then I've also removed the medical supplies of $6,500. Everything else is pretty straightforward from before. The only difference is on the capital outlay. I'm assuming our pumper truck's going to be done, so that came into the general fund from lost, and there'll be one more transfer from that as well. But overall, it'd be $72,600. And you can see compared to last year at 85, so it's a drop of 13,000 just based on that, transitioning some of that EMS stuff over. But then we'll have the payment out of capital outlay for $245,800 for the fire truck.
So this medical stuff, who's going to buy the medical stuff that you use?
The ambulance service will be taking care of that if this goes through.
You're going to donate it?
What's that?
You're going to donate it?
Yeah, he said that they would work out and they'd take care of our medical supplies. Because they're going to be getting roughly, if this goes through, is it 82,000?
So from the city.
So they get 82,000 from us out of the general fund.
Sorry if I.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Rick, basically what we're looking at is with the district, it'll allow us, so right now there's a lot of duplication between the three departments. So as a tax district providing EMS to the two communities, we see that as a way to basically take and create an opportunity to have uniform equipment and make sure that we're stocking appropriately, that, you know, there's not 10 of one thing at one station, 10 of something at the other, and then, you know, 20 at the ambulance station. We only use 5 a year. So really looking at being a little bit more efficient with the equipment and making sure everything's pretty standardized.
So when they need a new monitor, defibrillator, you going to buy it for them?
So that's a capital project, and that would be part of a bigger conversation, just because the tax doesn't necessarily
you guys need?
address that.
No, we have that, our new monitor we just finished making payments on, and then we have like 4 AEDs in-house. We usually put them in the parks in the summer, and then they're in the trucks in the winter.
I just didn't want you to deplete your own stuff and not have money to buy.
No, we've actually had some pretty good conversations over the past few months, because we're going to have to come up with the funding for it, and this was one way we can save. Obviously, their per capita allocation that we currently give them each year, which is around 18,000, that won't happen, so that'll be a savings. But then we're going to have to give them around the 82,000 once this goes into effect.
So basically, when you go on call, whatever they use, you're just going to replace it.
Yeah, and generally we're pretty good about doing that now. The biggest thing comes with like equipment expiring, and our goal would be to rotate equipment better, so that way, you know, we tend to use equipment a little bit more frequently, just because we're using it during transport or whatever. So if we can kind of rotate that into our trucks and then restock you guys to prevent expirations, or restock your station when stuff does expire, it creates that better efficiency a little bit. Less waste.
Does Lynn Public Health come down to check you guys out for expiration things?
So we get state inspected, and it's actually coming up in March, which is exciting. So, but yes, we do get inspected for expirations.
We got any questions for Mayor? Please.
We had our police advisory board meeting last week. Due to our low staffing this year, lots of changes in the police department, we decided that we were going to stay. It had been proposed last year and years past that there would be an increase in the budget by 3%, I think, or 3%. We've came to the agreement that we will not be asking for an increase or requesting an increase in the budget this year, like I said, due to our staffing, our low staffing throughout the year. So we thought it was only fair that we just leave it at nothing this year, and we will revisit that next year. So,
Questions, Jason? Go for it. Yep. This might be the time you want to go.
This is actually almost as easy as PD. With the I don't want to say dilemma, but with the complications of figuring out where they're pulling money and everything for this EMA stuff, Brandon's moving some stuff around, and his numbers aren't really hard, so we're going to try to stay as copacetic as possible with our budget, not ask for anything new. We lowered less. The big things we've got is, I know I was asked last year about Main Street, on East Main Street by your house, Raleigh. They've got the gap in between there. Cyclists tend to get their tires caught in it. We should have, with what's left in budget from this year and our normal budget for next year, to get Main Street done. We got some chip and dip streets we're gonna have to re-hit, but all that's budgetary items for streetwise. Anybody got any questions on streets?
When you say get that done, what do you mean?
So we're gonna core out, we got the quote, I'm in the process to making sure that they're gonna still honor this quote from last year, which generally they do. They'll core out the center section 2 foot, pretty much the whole way. They'll spot it where the seams are good, and they'll lay in new asphalt there, and then they're gonna go ahead and crack seal it. What that'll do then is that's almost giving us another 15 years of life out of that street, to where if we don't do anything, it's gonna slowly keep deteriorating, but we're gonna have to have a major reconstruction on it.
Is there any room for budget to fix South Washington Street or North Street from 30 to Main Street?
So that's been on their projects for a while.
640,000 if we keep the patchwork in house.
And that's what we're gonna try to do this summer, being we ended up getting the Elite Stone stretch of road done last fall. We've got a lot more done at the sports complex than we thought in the well project. Those were all pushed off to be this year. Well, now we're actually we got some concrete work left to do out at the sports complex, but then we're gonna pop down and start doing some of our in-house patching on Washington this summer.
So the 600,000 was to replace it?
It was diamond milling. I don't know if you've been on like Bowling Street there at Kirkwood exit, Cedar Rapids. If you get off there and head north up to the Hy-Vee at Wilson Avenue, it's like they kind of somewhat build it, and that would be that work. Basically, they go in, take all the bumps out. You have to patch the bad areas, and then they final diamond mill it. I've been on it. It looks pretty good, but that would not be an overlay.
So what would the cost to replace it? Would it be quite a bit?
No. Yeah, it would be. Yeah. So 640,000 is for the diamond.
That's for that and the pinning, I believe. Yeah. Dave's on there. I think he could probably. It's been a while since
that on there or not.
I haven't.
Those numbers fresh, but that's correct. We'd be stitching joints with dowel bars to try to keep those uneven joints from moving again. We grind those down so they're smooth and take a little bit off the surface the whole way to get it all smooth. It essentially feels like a new roadway, but you'll notice the grinding pattern on it. When you get done with it, you'll see the grooves when we put the dowel bars in the joints.
So how will that hold up with the truck traffic that goes down that road.
The intent with those pins in the joints is to make that so that those joints don't tilt anymore. The wheel load, when you go from one panel to the next, as it starts to get a little bit deformed, you get a more impact each time you get that separation, and it gets worse progressively. We would grind that so that it's smooth to avoid that impact, and put those joints in to help with that. And that's done on some pretty high traffic roadways and other areas. They've had good success with it, and it's a fraction of the cost of replacing it.
Okay, so you're saying it's gonna cost $640,000 if we have somebody come in and do it? Correct?
Just that portion. We still, that's not including the concrete portion we got.
Okay, so like if we do it, what we're gonna do,
It's still gonna be 640.
it's a machine, we don't have the.
Yeah.
So the 640 is you doing some of the work?
Yes.
That'd be us patching it, paying for
You
the patch.
patching it or?
And that'd be $1 million if we had somebody do it all.
At least, yeah. And that price is a couple years, right, Dave?
Yeah, I would expect that we're going to be well over $1 million if we were to replace it, and a lot more impact to all the adjacent properties.
Okay, so where's this money coming from, Ricky?
We're not doing the 640 now. We're just doing the in-house stuff with the existing budget to get that rolling. That project won't start until next budget.
Yeah, I thought you were just asking about it.
Yeah.
That's not in this budget. So we're not gonna, only thing you're gonna do is patch it?
We gotta core out the bad spots. Like I said, I don't have the linear footage in front of me. But we've got spots that are 10 foot long and half lane depth, and spots that are 30 foot long and all the way across. So we're gonna try to do those this summer when school's out of session, before and after harvest and planting. So that would be the less impact on people.
What else?
That was it for street.
You do anything? Water.
Water, the same thing there. We're gonna use some of that project money we set off for Monroe and Third. We had a main break there 2 years ago, and that whole intersection needs to be dug up, and we found out we have 4 services on the dead end portion of Third that are running off of that old main still. We need to get them onto the newer main and get that hydrant replaced. So we'll get that done.
For a cost of,
That right there, we got it penciled in for about 10. So we're
it's on page, let's see, it says page 4 on there. Everything else is pretty straightforward on water. Anybody any questions on that? Sewer. Sewer's pretty much the same as last year. The only thing you're gonna notice is the testing has increased substantially. That's down under contractual services. As you can see, we're budgeting 20,000 versus 16, and that's for all the tests that are required for the DNR and taking those down to the lab. So where on here is pumps? It seems like we're buying 2 or 3 pumps a year.
That's, yes and no, it goes in phases. So like the pumps we bought, 2 or 3, there's 3 of them. And when one fails, they're all the same age. So you know when one fails, the other one's gonna fail. But the problem is, it's not like we can budget to have one sitting on the shelf, because the seals can dry rot and the warranty starts the minute we get it, so not the minute they install it. So it's kind of a gamble with that.
You buying new or having refurbished?
Well, it depends. We're about 75% buy new versus the refurbish. The warranty is twice as long if you buy them new, and it's generally only about $1,000 difference. So when you're thinking 6 months versus 2 years for warranty. It's,
And now where you get these from, are they kept in stock or
No.
do they have to order them out?
it depends. Generally, we're not, so the way all of our pumps and stuff are run there, we can still operate the way that plant's designed. If we lose a pump, we can still operate with that pump being down by rotating some things around. So it's not like we need to have them sitting here. The only one, we have an extra one is for our aeration basins, and that's because we only have 2 pumps, 1 in each tank, and we have a spare that when we do our maintenance every year where we pull the pumps and do the load testings on them, generally we can tell if we have a seal failure, if there's a voltage drop or something, we'll swap that warranty one in, not the warranty, but the spare one in, and then we can send the other one off and see that's when we have to order the parts for.
That's why it's important not to flush wipes down the pipe, because it ruins. What is it, 15,000 for a new pump?
Yeah.
So Minor Equipment, if you go to the Minor Equipment line, that's where that came out of, and we did a budget amendment to move that to 20 this year, that's why it's so high there. That's where that,
There's a lot more people that
that's what that
think that.
I just got one quick question. Would it be feasible if we budgeted for you a building that you could do your own testing in?
So, funny you say that. I was supposed to go, there's a couple towns around here that do their own testing. I've made phone calls to the DNR about us becoming a certified lab for the, I call them the generic tests, the ones we gotta do all the time, like the metals and that. We just can't afford to have the equipment saying for the 1 or 2 tests a year we'd have to use that for. We are looking into it. I don't know exactly labor-wise what's entailed. That's why I want to go talk to these towns to see how much time they actually spend sitting in their lab.
Wyoming's got one.
Yeah. There's towns, I think Coggin's trying to get their own now too. So, but they do different testing than we have to do, and that's, yep. No, wait, me and Brandon have talked about it quite a bit, so. That's one of
Do
the
we have to pay the state when we test that water every year?
Yeah, it's pretty expensive.
I think between the two, we're probably almost 25,000 a year.
Okay, so those pumps, I mean, you're gonna cut your budget on that $10,000, but in the last 3 years, you've been over 20,000 and you're over 20,000 this year.
I think 1 year was a motor, the 27,000 was a motor, and then we bought a sampler. The budget's always been 10. So we had a budget amendment that brought it from 10 up to 20, so.
That's, for the motors and pumps down there, everything has been replaced in the last 3 years. So out of any years, this should be the year, knock on wood, that we can get through the years.
Yeah, have you got any questions? Discussion, possible action in reference to contracting with Snyder Associates to create documents in reference to EMS District.
All right, so this is the final step of the 357G state code to create an EMS district before we can send it to a ballot. So the first step was the petitioning, the public meetings by all the governing boards, the approval of the district, and now the platting of the district. The 357F and 357G code is pretty unique. It's not like a lot of the other special district code in the state. Part of this is requiring an engineering firm to go out and actually plat the parcels, get the valuations, get all of the homeowners, and make sure that the district is the correct parcels before it goes to the vote. So this is the same firm that Lynn County, Johnson County, and the city of Mount Vernon have utilized, trying to keep all of the work consistent. That way it should hopefully be an easy process and an easy report. Once the report is finalized, it'll come back to you for approval at a public hearing, and that'll trigger a 60-day timer to have a vote. So.
Will this go into Cedar County?
It will not. So the one tricky part about this code is all of the governing boards ultimately have to approve it, regardless of petition or not. Because Cedar County has 422D, they were not interested in moving forward with allowing the district to extend into Cedar County. We already get tax funding from Jones County, so we didn't approach them because it would impact the formula that's utilized for all of their EMS agencies, but we're already getting that funding back. So it's kind of the struggle. I know that there is interest in looking at these two codes at the state level over the next year to see if we can make it a little bit more efficient, because we're finding it's very clunky. And so we're hoping for some potential changes there to make it a little bit more streamlined. So.
Questions? So it's going to cost us $7,500, is that right, Brandon?
That's correct.
Need a motion?
Motion for that.
Need a motion to spend $7,500 and raise one in the three EMS district.
Got a motion and a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion and possible action in reference to utility billing clerk wage.
So I was asked to put this on from last meeting in reference to the utility clerk position that was hired. So it's on here. She was hired at $22 an hour.
Is that what it said on the thing? Up to that, on the job.
That was the range.
That's what it was.
So I mean, I think it's the cleanest way moving forward would be to leave it at that and then have her come in after her 6-month evaluation, and then you can choose to raise it to wherever you want to do it at that
I
time.
think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let her get her feet wet.
Okay, so we're not going to do any action on that?
I'll make a motion to table.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion and possible action in reference to non-contract employee bonuses and correlation of cost savings achieved through capital, TIF, and infrastructure improvement projects.
So the Personnel Committee and I had discussed this. Obviously, we're doing a new process for the annual evaluations that are more consistent with how they should be. One topic of discussion was about all the projects that were completed in-house this past year. 300 block of West Main Street had a total savings of $75,000 just in the work that was done in-house. Freiburg Extension was $70,000. And row work number 5, the work that we completed prior to getting the second bid, was $160,000 worth of savings. Sports complex work that was completed was $50,000. So a grand total of $355,000 was saved for the 2025 year for projects in-house. We know that's our responsibility to do whatever we can to save funds, keep as much work in-house as possible. But the amount of work that was done this year was pretty substantial. Personnel Committee had proposed awarding bonuses to non-contract employees, so that would be the Public Works Director and Public Works staff. And then Christina, this is for the paperwork and documentation associated with that. All these projects require copies of supplies, spreadsheets, total costs, extensive organization for all the documents, and then quarterly reports that are all required through different grants and programs through TIF. Drayton and Bryan have been listed on this as well, as they, on occasion, were extra hands that were needed in order to make sure that we could get all these projects completed. I think mainly it was pouring concrete on those days. This would be a one-time bonus for all those employees mentioned. And then obviously there's a resolution if you see fit. So I was always told that if there was ever good works and we thought that it was relevant for that to bring it forward. So I just thought I would do that and see what your thought was. This is about 3.6% of the total savings, which would be given back to those employees mentioned. And just for the record, there was 6.25 hours of overtime that was generated from all these projects.
6.2?
What?
6.2, you said?
6.25. All the other overtime that was generated during that time were things out of our control. Sauerkraut days, weekend chores, pool checks, sludge removal, and graves, so.
And that was the average employee, correct?
Total.
Oh, total.
Yes.
So what's that bonus add up to?
I think it was $13,500, I believe.
Split?
Yeah, so if you go a couple pages down on there, you'll see the resolution.
Last page.
I think they've done a good job, but I also think that every this year, we also gave them, each one of them a bonus already. And I'm gonna stick to my guns that, you know, after we save money, but we're just giving it right back out. We got a street down here that's gonna cost almost $1 million to fix it, and we may as well fix it right. Because it was supposed to be done after the project, is what I was told, so, you know, we give the employees benefits. We give them, do you guys still get longevity pay? You get longevity pay after so many years.
That they're
But there's one
automatically-
person that everybody's gonna get a bonus except one person. And I'm a firm believer that she should not get left out. Because I'm sure one of the times she's answered the phone or made a couple copies too, and that's Marcia.
Now, on our last 3 hires, did we start them out, I mean, we'd say we're good hires, I'm not gonna disagree with that, but did we start them out at our regular base pay, or did we compensate them because we knew they were a little bit, we knew what they could bring to the table?
I want to stop you right there. This has nothing to do with what we're paying our employees. This has nothing to do with what we're paying Tudor, what we're paying Keith, or Rodman, Jake, any, this has nothing to do with that. This is strictly for, what we did in-house saved $355,000 that didn't go towards our tax base.
Exactly, I know that, but if you take your base pay, and then you have somebody else more credentials here, so you're paying them already up front, because of you knowing that, you should get a little bit more goodie out of it, I would think. Unless anybody else disagrees.
And I see what you're saying.
You know.
But you know, here's what else, the legislation now, you know, within the next year, the tax bases, the cities are gonna have to make a thing because the taxes are gonna go up, and we're gonna have to raise the taxes. Here, and I'll bet you in the next 2 years. And because the state's gonna pay less and less for the stuff, so our days are saying raising taxes are gonna probably be over.
Everybody's money's getting tighter.
Where are we at what we can tax right now?
Correct.
We're at what we're gonna tax. So,
Well, they're trying to get everybody down, so they're trying to lower it, but the hope is that you've grown enough where the increase of evaluation offsets what you have to get down to.
All right, nobody's answering my question that I asked.
okay, so what do you wanna know? If we started to go,
All right, you take.
Probably, to be honest with you, that issue there would probably get resolved in the next section, because what's happened over the years is the starting wage has always been the starting wage, and nothing ever happens to that starting wage. So the starting wage just sits here. And so then what happens is you have to go reevaluate and determine where people are at in other communities, and that's where we go.
I'm just saying,
So,
the horse racing, you know, you pick out genetics in this horse because it's gonna win more, you know, so you pay more for this horse. I'm breaking it down. So if you have an employee that you already know that's gonna be beneficial to us.
we started the last two in comparison to where that would be in other places, and it didn't go over our employee that we currently had.
Oh, okay.
Since we didn't want to start that person over top of, in the same role. That makes sense?
That's what I was getting at.
I think anytime we can give less than 4% back to the employees and they can save us that kind of money, I'll do it year after year. I think that's wonderful. It gives them some incentive and a feeling of that they've been thanked. as much as we
And
can.
that's good, John, but you know, I bought a coon dog to treat humans. You know, people buy a hunting dog, a bird dog to get birds.
So with what you're saying, I understand, but what I'll say, when we hired these people, we didn't hire them saying we were gonna start pouring streets. We didn't hire them saying we were gonna start putting in, you know, 1 million miles of water main. They were hired to fix water main breaks, to do the testing, brush, and that. So what we've done with these projects, we're above and beyond what we normally say is our scope.
And we congratulated you guys last time, because let's just say you put all your ponds, you got a good personnel to do all this now. And so everybody's in place, and it seems like it's working pretty good.
But this, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time we've saved that kind of money in 1 year.
Okay, now we say this is a one-time thing, then what happens when another time?
Okay,
Then
I'll
there's
tell you,
nothing to share if they didn't save us extra money.
I'll tell you exactly, you know, you asked Brandon to go out and look for grants, and you want to go look for grants, and then you want to reward him for getting grants. You're doing the same thing here, is you're rewarding them for saving us money.
That's why I asked about the wage thing, if you're gonna pay more up front, because you know what this person brings to the table
Yeah,
to put everything in line.
yeah, and we've done that, but I really don't want to get.
That was great that we saved that much money, don't get me wrong, that was unbelievable. But I think we have a good core of working personnel going right
I
now.
agree with you.
Definitely. But I think they deserve a thank you, and I think what we're offering is nothing to sneeze at. It'd be nice if we could afford more, but if you're willing to give a grant writer 10-15%, somebody we don't even know, I think to give less than 4% to people that are right here working for us in the hot sun.
And I agree with that, but I meant when we said the grant writer, I made that perfectly clear that we go after the ones that we know we can pretty much get. And we use a grant writer for the ones that are skeptical, that are out there that we wish we could get.
Yeah.
You know, and like you guys told me, they don't get paid unless they get granted the grant, and then that's 15% is what I was told last meeting we had.
It depends on the grant writer.
So what?
Well, so I don't know where you go with that.
So what was the bonuses that we gave last time? You know, then just got extra money, just.
That was kind of a one-time deal.
It's been a 4-year deal. It's been a bonus every year I've been on this council. And I'll be honest with you, I've voted for most of them, and most of them, but where do you stop? A one-time deal was supposed to be that, now it's another one-time deal.
Well, with that other program we had, we did anticipate going forward.
And again, Brandon, what did you say, how much overtime did we talk, I had a question, so I got a hold of you earlier, between May and August, what?
So May 1st to August 31st,
Okay,
there was, everything was for the water main, was 6 hours and 15 minutes, 6.25.
yeah.
Yep. Everything else was outside.
And that's pretty darn good, yeah.
So my one thing is this, here's what I get about that. If we were a manufacturing company and did a phenomenal job, and I was the CEO, and my employees, I'd say, yeah, you know, the profits were good this year. Let's, I'll give you a nice bonus for Christmas, you know what I mean?
Well,
Now we're talking city tax money that we get from the people, and the people are wondering, well, Jesus, well, they're doing a good job, maybe, you know, why are they giving away tax money? When we got other things that money that they saved could be going for other stuff.
Well, then it would have to go into a neutral fund.
You won't have to go into any fund, because it ain't in a fund right now.
No, it was a savings.
It's general right now.
But how were we gonna pay, my question is, how were we gonna pay for that anyway?
It'll come out of general fund.
All right, so then. we-
Or it'll come out of what funds that it goes, what it was saved in on those.
It wouldn't have happened.
You
The
know,
well wouldn't have happened.
No, but if we had to pay it, what fund would we drawn it from?
Well, like we're paying, we saved all that money on the well so we could do the well, and we took it out of the water fund and the well fund.
Okay.
And when they put in the roads.
The TIF fund, we got reimbursed. The TIF, there's tackings from the financing.
Good, great job, hands off. I mean, we, between you two right there, that are sitting right there, you guys put together a pretty decent crew, is what I'm saying. And, you know,
Just so you know, I was told if there was ever substantial savings to bring it forward. So this isn't a money grab or anything like that. This is why we did it. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was substantial. They did this work probably out of their scope of what they did. The well wouldn't have been done if they didn't do it. And it was 3.6% of that money given back to them. 2 of them have not received, because we quit doing the bonuses. The only person that Rick had mentioned that wasn't on this list just received her bonus in November, so she wasn't added to that, and she did not have a part in the process of that. Yes, she may have answered the phone, made a copy or something, but the reports are substantial that is required for the grant, for the DNR, for all this stuff, and there's folders upon folders of paperwork that has to be duplicated to each of these. So that's to answer your question.
okay, well, either Rick or John brought it up a meeting or 2 meetings ago. I think what we need to do, being we saved all this money, for the safety of our employees, we need to get one of them sleeves that we set down in a hole. If we're gonna be playing underneath the ground.
And we rented that. The box?
The box.
Trench
Yeah,
box? We rented it.
You rent it.
Yeah,
okay.
because we don't, I mean.
That was part of the equipment
Yeah.
rental for those projects. We can't put anybody in there without it.
Yeah, well, and again, I didn't know what renting it versus, I mean, how much are we gonna use it versus maybe purchasing one for us?
Well, then you got,
Renting out to Mount Vernon or Mechanicsville or.
That's certainly something we can look at, but
Okay. I was just looking out for the safety, being we save all this money, looking out for the safety of the employees.
right.
But that's good, I did not know that. I did not know that we rented one. I guess I got to drive around one. Oh, wait, they blocked the streets off.
I wouldn't know what we rented for and what we can buy it for.
Well, this is the time to ask.
who met, I guess you said, who met with you to discuss this?
Personnel, John and Nate.
Okay, so Nate, what do you got to say?
Hmm?
Nate, what do you have to say?
I'm behind sharing a little bit of the love here. This under 4% bonus is not going to 1 or 2 individuals. It's being shared amongst the entire team.
So 1 or 2%?
3.6%, whatever it works out.
Yeah.
So that was how much per person, or does it go off the way they did it the last time?
It's according to the schedule shown on the.
You can make it whatever you want. I just put 25 for the public works director, 2,500, $2,000 for all the public works employees, 1,500 for the city clerk
Goes
treasurer,
by what they make.
and 500 off for the other 2 that.
Higher the wage, the better, more they get.
There's maybe more of a role with certain people involved, but
Yeah. Well, I just don't think we should be giving taxpayer money away like that. We already gave them a bonus.
Well, they saved 355, so we're not gonna talk about this again in the future unless it's above $355,000 is what I'm getting at.
Well, we can talk about that anytime.
Oh, we can talk, yeah.
That's what it's all about, it's talking about it. I mean, I'm just gonna say it this way,
they saved $355,000, where if they didn't, that would have been $355,000 that the city would have to come up with.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, that's,
We wouldn't have been doing that many projects either, we couldn't afford it. So, in the future, I think it's good to consider giving something back when they go above and beyond.
So what do you do next year?
Yeah, so what I'm saying is you have to reach at least 355,000 in order for
As high as-
us to even look at this again.
We paid.
I think I'm
we
for it.
we
I'm for it.
continuously consider this kind of thing, when we encourage
You gotta look at
and
these people.
we ask our team
Jobs.
to save us money, to find alternatives to the very expensive ways of
You haven't
doing
said a
things.
word yet.
But we have to
We
put
want
it in a graph that we do, yes.
I'm waiting for H.
Does,
265,000, it's like,
3% for,
well, you would divide that, yeah, exactly, exactly.
I'm more in favor of the follow-on.
But I get that, you get all your, all the right people in all the right spots. We have that, we have that.
And we're encouraging them to
we
think
just
outside the
can't
box,
start giving the money.
and find the city more benefit.
And I understand that, you know what? Somebody, I guess if somebody, what you build a statue or something, build.
Brandon, what funds this
I think
gonna come out
I'd
of?
rather have the money than pockets.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You know, we got a sports complex we gotta finish paying for,
Yeah.
you know? We're letting that 300,000 go towards that.
Well, if it keeps up, we're gonna have excess money to work with.
Part of it was savings.
I mean, in theory, right?
Paid for.
Yeah, we save another 300K.
You're
Yeah,
getting way off.
then we can do more things.
Next
They
year,
save this money.
we got 600K for that project.
They did, and this is what we're talking about, giving back a little bit for the money they saved us in the past year. And, I'll move to approve.
We're on discussion, I believe, right now.
yeah, I need a motion. No, you don't have to.
No, this is just discussion. We're on
5G.
5G.
Can we talk
Some
about
possible
five,
action.
can we talk about 5H before we go much further on 5G?
That,
I mean,
the resolution to pass it is.
Yeah, the resolution's in section
Okay,
6.
Okay, 6, so, yes, that's the next thing. We want to just move to 5H then?
Yep.
Okay. Discussion of possible action in reference to non-contract employees' wage scale. So as you're all aware, the union informed staff a few years back that they did not want to continue on with the city of Lisbon, so that scale that was in that contract is null and void. We ran into issues with, as we just discussed, when you hire people, that starting wage doesn't fluctuate. If some other community gives stipends, raises, we're feeling like we're catching up. So I met with personnel and come up with a kind of a scale. You can certainly not approve it. Obviously, there's no resolution for this tonight, so you can voice your comments and concerns with it. But basically, it's after 5 years of performance and 5 satisfactory evaluations. On this example, the employee would get $1.50 an hour increase. That's a one-time at that point. After 10, they'd get $1.75. After 15 and every 5 after that, they would get $2 an hour. It's very consistent with other, I mean, there's various different scales that you can do, but government employees essentially have, a lot of places have this. And that would replace the bonus activity that we've had in the past. Basically, then all you would decide going further then would be the cost of living increase as to whatever that is. Currently, it's 3%. But I just, basically how this would go into play, this would just overlap over everybody. There'd be no back pay, there'd be no starting at step 1, going here, it'd just be wherever everybody falls in line. Whenever they reach that next threshold, if they've had 5 positive evaluations or reviews, they would get that whatever step they're at.
Who's the evaluator? Or do we have a committee?
So I go have most of them, and then it goes to the personnel committee.
So you're saying for like 1 through 4, it'd be cost of living, whatever it is, right? Right?
Yes.
And on year 5, it'd be $1.50. Year 6, it'd be cost of living, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Just a one-time each, you know, at the 5-year mark, it's not
plateau.
year 5, it's not year 6, year 7, it's year 5, year 10, year 15. Now, if somebody has a bad evaluation, they have to have 5, so, you know, it could take them 7 years to get to step, you know, that first one. Because if they don't have 5 positive evaluations, then they wouldn't get it.
That makes sense.
So would there still be the longevity pay?
It's spelled out.
That's in the city policy, I don't, yeah.
What is that?
600 for 5, over 5,
We
and
just switched it, Christine.
900 over 10,
G.
1,200 over 15 or something like that.
That longevity pays a lump sum, like at the beginning of the year or whatever, or your anniversary.
Which I think that's good. I think that's good that it's on a scale.
What's the longevity? How many years?
Same, that's 5, yeah.
5, 10,
Yeah.
15, 20, 25?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay.
I don't think maybe 20, I
I thought, yeah. Remember Tom was here past the 20, so we had to reconsider something.
So we doing anything on this then?
I get a question.
Okay.
So how would you view this, Travis, if you were sitting up here on the school board and this teacher said, made this program that saved the school all this money, how would you react?
So my opinion with the first part of this conversation was, like Brandon said, he was asked by council to bring this up if we ever had substantial. So that was him following what he was directed last time. I don't want mine. Mine can go to the guys. I don't care. I know a lot of.
But if we do, you understand that you deserve it just like that.
Here's what I'm saying. Me as employees, I remember what it was like when I first started here and what we did versus what we're accomplishing now. And that's night and day, apples and oranges. We do have a very, very good workforce. When you guys ask about overtime, I don't think you understand what it takes to not get the overtime. So yes, there's days we work till 5, but the guys will leave early the following day. So they're going above and beyond, I mean, than what we have to, per se. I mean, they technically were hired from 7 to 4, is what we were promised in every review and every interview. It was never, hey, are you okay with, now this Friday it's gonna rain, so let's work late Tuesday, Wednesday to get more done because the city's paying to rent this equipment, so we don't have to rent it longer than we have to and we can get it done. So,
And I think that's great that we play around with content.
yeah,
Yeah, in comp time, they're playing around with the regular time.
that's regular, that's straight.
I mean, it's just like, they're gonna say, oh, shit, we got a big snowstorm coming in Saturday, we're gonna leave early Friday or Thursday, leave a couple hours early here or there, so it eliminates some of the overtime.
So with that,
I mean, by all rights, they're hired 7 to 4, they could work 8 hours, and we're gonna have to pay them any time, 8 hours after that.
so with that being said, Rick, I see what you're saying. I don't like the word bonus. I get what you're saying with that, but on the other hand, I don't see any employer that wouldn't find a way to recognize the good employees that we have and the lucky ones, and that's what I think council, when they asked Brandon to bring this up, when they did, they wanted to recognize the good employees that we have, and this was one way to do it, and that's where, we weren't sitting in the office saying, hey, let's just go do this. Like, we were directed for this, and that's why that one came up. So it was the end of the year, we figured out where we were sitting, it was budget time, that was a substantial number.
I agree 100%. What I'm getting at is, this is the first time I heard about this, is when I got my back. you guys met with.
Well, and I have one thing, is if we're gonna be doing this, I know Drayton works a lot more hours than Big B does, so it should be more than 500 if we go on with this.
Well,
I
it was
mean,
for the
could
work
you
one.
guys go
It was-
hours
it
out?
wasn't for an annual performance review per person, it was just based on the work that was done, so, like, I'm sure Drayton may have done a couple more things, but when they helped, they were both there for the days, like, hey, we need all hands on
Oh,
deck.
all right.
So it wasn't like, I'm not comparing him to Brian and hours, this is just for the savings of this project, this isn't a performance, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So who's all on it?
Everybody's.
Well, our whole workforce.
Public Works Director, Public Works employees, the clerk, and Brian and Drayton from Park and Rec.
So is there any other meetings you're gonna have about bonuses that we should know about, or?
No, this is a one-time deal. Right? Right, yeah. Well, actually, not a one-time deal,
This is
one-time deal
evaluating.
this year, yeah.
This is evaluating the performance of the last year.
Yeah, which
And the
was,
successes from last year.
which was phenomenal.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we don't do anything on this tonight, we can set it for the next agenda, if you wanna do anything, if you don't wanna do anything.
Yeah, we're just in the discussion phase right now. However, this is item 6C coming up.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
Kevin, did you have something for
You said you were
5A?
talking about the next one.
No, I just was wanting everyone to hear that potential alternative maybe to 5G would be implementing the 5H, but I see that it's not actually ready for resolution yet, but.
I was just getting the feelings on it.
Right. So I did, that was my point, was a specified pay scale, which this city doesn't seem to have, like, based on longevity, which most government organizations I've ever been involved with had steps, like what you're
Well, the
proposing.
contract did.
It did, but
Did you, yeah,
dissolved.
Right, because the state must in the unions, I understand that, but, yeah, so anyway.
It's just trying to get it so it's non-arbitrary, it's in place, we don't have to have
Which would
discussions
save
like
the
this.
last half hour of this discussion if we
Correct.
had.
If we had this probably wouldn't be here.
We would have steps, but I understand that doesn't necessarily address
on the next
this
one,
past
I
year.
want reference possible action for non-contract employees and wage scale. I want a resolution for that. Okay, next one. Okay, resolution 01-2026, council liaisons. The group, there's a thing in there, of all the liaisons that I appointed for the council. Everybody looked through it. I didn't, the only thing I switched, I basically put Raleigh where Mike Williams was.
Do you think
And I
sometimes,
think I gave Raleigh the
You think so?
library, or the cemetery.
you think sometimes it would be wise to move you around a little bit?
If you guys want to change it around, we can change it around. If you guys want to do something different, I mean, I don't
I'm
want to see it.
just saying, there's some people have been on it for the last 20 years, some things.
This is the council, not the
Right,
boards.
right.
None of us have been on it for 20 years.
Well, let's just say for all.
Okay. If you want to switch it around, we can switch it around. Anything, that's what we're talking about right now. There's something that you want to be on that you're not on?
You want one of my jobs?
Up. Before that.
Third to last page here.
Okay with it?
I'm I'm fine with
And,
mine.
and like I've always said, even though these are liaisons, if you have, you know, like, I'm just gonna say fire department for example, Fred Scott and Kevin Steele, if Raleigh has a problem with the fire department, he can go talk to Brandon about it. You don't have to, you know, have to say, hey, Rick or Kevin, you need to talk to Brandon about this. You just, all three can't do it at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay? Anybody else got any problems? Get a motion.
Motion to approve the resolution as it reads.
I second.
Got a motion, second. Nate?
Aye.
Riley?
Aye.
Rick? Kevin?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 02, 2026, official appointments. This is appointments of our boards, fire chief, police chief. I don't know if police chief's on there, I don't think police chief is. But I mean, all of our boards, city clerks, city attorneys, official papers. Any motion?
So moved.
Got a motion, or a second?
Second.
Nate?
Aye.
Riley? Rick? John?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Resolution 03, 2026, capital project savings employee bonus. That would be what?
This is in reference to 5G we just spoke about.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve.
This was the 5G we just talked about. I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Nate?
Aye.
Riley?
Here.
Rick?
Nay.
John?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Correspondence?
I don't have anything to sign.
City engineer report.
On the well project, we received contract and bond paperwork from Lindler, who's the contractor on the project, and before it goes on for signature, they're working on submittals for the major equipment. We're working to try to get a pre-construction meeting once they get the contract documents back and they have the materials approved and ready for delivery. That should coincide pretty well with the weather improving in the next couple of months. That's all I have.
Anybody anything for Dave?
Thanks, Dave.
Public Works.
We did get Grand Avenue ground today. There was a spot on North Washington. The Grand Avenue manhole, we're gonna reconstruct this spring when the weather, we can pour concrete. We did that to hopefully lessen the impact on the area for the time being. We are gonna put up stop signs. I've got a standby for Lion Energy for the stop signs out the industrial park because of one of their main gas lines running there. So that's scheduled tomorrow, as long as they show up for that standby, which Christina said she received a call today. They might not be able to do and have to push it back, but we can get those stop signs put in. And then we have all the lumber package ordered and steel package ordered for the splash pad, or sports complex, control building for the sprinkler system. We're hoping to get that built in pieces in the shop so we can get that out there and erected.
Any questions for Travis? Person Rec.
Girls basketball's wrapped up. We started boys basketball last week. Other than that, I'll be working on stuff for, just sending out information in regards to field space for baseball and softball, and then registrations for spring soccer.
Anything for Drayden? Police Department.
We had a good police advisory board meeting last week. We just finished up testing for candidates this last weekend. We'll do interviews next week.
Anything for Jason?
How many of your officers are lean?
Or what?
Lean?
Are there, or that are going to be interviewed?
No.
I mean,
How
Minnesota.
many of your officers are lean certified?
Oh, being certified?
Lean, L-E-I?
Yeah, I get it now. I didn't understand. 3, I think. We had 4.
What did I
Esteban
Law
left.
enforcement intelligence.
Esteban just left the department, so we're down 1 now and then. So.
You have your dog working, up and working yet?
He's narcotics certified, yeah. He's not tracker and handler certified yet. He has to go back in the spring for those
So we
certifications.
lost Esteban?
Yeah. influence as troopers.
And then when the meeting's over, can I talk to you?
Yeah.
Sure. Anything else for Jason? Ambulance.
Finished the year with 917 responses, which is up from 855 last year. Primarily increased is local 911s. Our intercepts are going to be about the same level, and then mutual aid will be about the same level. Working on the annual report for 2025, hoping to have that out in February, as well as getting things ready for our state inspection in March. So a lot going on. This year's been off to a pretty steady start, so we'll kind of see how the year goes.
Anything chicken? Hi, Barry.
She's not on, I got nothing.
Fire chief.
We had our appreciation dinner this past week. Congratulations to Brett Epperly, who's got 10 years of service with the fire department and 25 total years from a previous department. Congrats to Nick Mackey for 10 years of service and Kevin Steele for 25 years of service. I'd also like to extend appreciation and a thank you to Bruce Gray and Mike Swatosh on their retirements from the fire department. Bruce was here over 30 years and Mike was over 25, so thanks to all those guys for all their years of support and volunteering.
Anything for fire chief? City administrator.
Main focus has been budgets, been to having department meetings, with department heads, going over that stuff. And then getting Bree ready to start. She did come in today. She'll be in again tomorrow, and then Thursday and Friday, and then she will be full-time, ready to go as of next week. Just a reminder to everybody, if you've received the letters on the golf cart, chicken permits, pet license, all that stuff went out this past couple of weeks.
Not to interrupt you, but how much longer do we have Marcia to help out training?
Through the end of the month. The 30th is our last day.
When?
30th,
Okay.
which, since you brought that up, the 29th, we'll be doing a reception for her from 1 to 4 here at City Hall. And then she'll come in the 30th, just as her last day, so.
We'll put that in the paper, correct?
Yeah, yep. All right, garbage times. I'm gonna be working with the Sun, hopefully to put something in the paper. Per the garbage contract, we do not have, they don't have set hours. And they don't publish them, they don't have a route just because of, obviously if their truck gets full or one breaks down, they don't want to be held to that. So garbage pickup time is 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So while it seems crazy, they could be in your neighborhood at 6 a.m. this Thursday and next week at 6 p.m., but that's just the way it is. I can't do anything about that. So I suggest that everybody have their garbage out at 6 a.m., garbage and recycling. And also, what's nice is they have a video tracker with GPS. So so somebody calls and says, hey, my garbage didn't get picked up. They go back through the video and they'll send it to me to see if it was there, why it didn't get picked up, if it got missed, whatever the case may be. So I'm just asking people, just make sure it's out there probably the night before, because there's no telling when they're going to be here. And we have 2 years remaining on this contract, and then we can reevaluate that.
Who actually does is it LRS is the company?
They bought out Johnson County, right?
Because it seems like I see trucks that don't say LRS.
Yeah, sometimes they rent them, they break down, they borrow, they contract with other people to come in.
So is that okay to do that?
What's that?
That's okay to do that? I mean,
They just have to get it done.
okay, because I mean, it seems like every week there's a different garbage truck out in front of the house with like Minnesota.
A lot of times
Minnesota plates on it.
they're rented, a lot of times.
You share the garbage fee?
Yeah, really probably shouldn't be in Iowa and Minnesota plates, but.
Whatever happened to the days you got bubble gum from the garbage guy?
I don't remember those days.
I don't know why they didn't.
231 East Market, the tree, talked to the resident, they're gonna be working to get it removed. Attended the 911 meeting this past week at the Lynn County Sheriff's Office, and the banners should be done tomorrow, the new banners, so the Christmas decorations will be down. It's all easy to do that in one full swoop, and take one down and then go back later. So That is all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you, Brandon. Christina?
Majority of my days are spent with the budget, otherwise, right now, it's a lot of webinars with the beginning of the new year. And be looking in the mail, everybody's W-2s went out. So if you do not receive it here, but, next week, let me know, because it did get mailed out.
I got it.
Perfect.
Nate?
$12.58 an acre already.
There you go. I just, a few thanks, thanks to the city workers, Jason, the police, Jake and ambulance, 917 responses, that's amazing. Thanks to fire, and congratulations to Brett, Nick, and Kevin for all the years that they've achieved. And thank the ones that were retiring, and that's all.
I just have something, Brandon, I don't know how hard this would be, but I think the workers did a phenomenal job. But if we could just check around with a couple of towns, our side tipped in the West Branch, see what their overtime was, and I think that would put this a lot clearer to all of us. If they're saying they're paying this much overtime, well then, and you do an excellent job, both you guys do, coordinating the guys down to 40 hours, that if this town's paying this much overtime, and this town's paying this much overtime, and we're not, it's a no-brainer. These guys need their bonus.
Sure.
I mean, because we can't pay it on the front side and the back side. Now, you already proved that we're not paying it on the front side. And that's what I'm getting at. So Brandon, if you could do that before the next meeting with just a few towns, do you think that's something that you could do?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that would be a lot easier for all of us if we heard that response. We could really speed this up. We don't have to spend 40 minutes on it again.
I guess, I mean, if I may add to that, that's 6.25 hours total overtime.
I know, that's
That many months is pretty phenomenal.
That's phenomenal. That's why I said, you already proved that you saved it on the front side.
Yeah. But the other thing too, is you don't know if these other towns have less staff than us and more projects than us. I mean,
Comparable
it's
town.
gonna be relative.
I know, but
it's good to have.
population to comparable population, you're gonna get a comparable answer.
It'll be good to have that feedback.
I'll check on
Yes.
it.
Okay, other than that, again, good. I think we've been talking, our winter weather hasn't been all that bad, and when we've had it, we've stepped up and got right on it. So, again, good job for that.
Rick?
I have nothing, but I'd like to, ask one question. Is Jake Wintervon our employee? That man right back there?
Yeah, doesn't it? I mean, technically, we pay for it.
It's on our, he's on our, the board, just, I don't know where you're going with this, but the board sets his salary.
Okay.
Because
But we
they,
pay, I mean, he's technically an employee of ours too, right?
well, he's on our books, but they pay it.
Right, but he's an employee of us, right? Technically?
Correct.
I'd like to set up a deal next week. I'd like to get him a bonus.
Dr. Brandon, I'll wait on, the agenda.
I think people don't recognize that man enough.
I think we got to know, because,
If you
again,
don't-
I did not know, so if we do just a little kind of high points of what he does for us, I mean, then that's a lot easier to talk about.
Okay,
Saves lives.
anything else?
Nope.
John?
I'll just second the thank yous that Nate listed. That's all I have.
Kevin?
I don't know that I'll be here next meeting, but so thanks to Marcia for all of her years of service. I'm gonna do mine in advance because I might not be here for her.
Good mission, Kevin.
Okay,
We'll miss Mark.
I got a couple. So, have we started putting the council packet online?
Yes.
And then, Dick, how much is the budget we give you right now?
18,600.
18.6, and it's gonna be like 82?
It'll be, yeah, better than that $80,000 range.
That's it. All right, meeting adjourned.
Everybody Everybody have a good rest of the week.